What's going on, everyone? We are finally here with set for Luke, and I'll say this, guys, I am really excited about this one. Can't wait to talk about Luke and also some of the other flavors that we might be doing some videos for. But before we dive into the list and talk about and play some games with Luke Green, I want to say a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon, and also have a DCG player link in the description down below if you guys want to check out any set 5 cards, maybe in the next 3 months or so. Luke Green, guys. So I've been playing a lot with Luke. I've played double red Luke, I've played Luke Green, I've played Luke Blue, and I was going to do a Luke Blue video. But one of the big problems with Luke Blue is running like a Luke Blue that I normally would like, with like Jedi lightsaber and Yodas and all that other stuff, ends up being real bad up against Jango Fett. This one I've had a little bit more success with, just being able to race them really quickly and being able to get immediate impact without getting pinged and exhausted down with using ECL, especially with things like Poe Dameron and Wrecker to dominate Jango Fett. That can be a real big use. But more importantly, this is also just a really good deck. You have the core components of the Rebel aggro strategy by just playing a bunch of fighters in the early game in space to trigger Luke's ability, and then playing like Fleet Lieutenant and all that good stuff, which is the strongest, one of the strongest, if not the strongest Rebel card to get an extra attack, be very aggressive. And we also have a few other early game ECL targets, such as Red 5 with Luke's ability. He can go and knock out a unit and potentially 2 units in some cases. Sabine's Masterpiece to potentially go ahead and get experience tokens and deal other damage to units. But then we also have ECL in the late game. Let's say you aren't trying to struggle for the late game or in the early game, and we can use things like ECL Poe, ECL Wrecker, which we know how strong is for Sabine. But we also have a more mid-game approach by having a 6 to deploy leader, either a 5/6 on the ground or 4/5 upgrade on one of our space units to really dominate that mid to late game. We have a bunch of removal options, including open fire, daring raid, and shoot downs, to kind of just play a little bit more of a controlling space game, because with those plus our very large array of early game fighters that we can go ahead and drop in, especially with things like Blue Leader or one of our ECL 3 drops in Red 5 or Sabine's Masterpiece, being able to immediately allow us to trigger the Luke Skywalker ability, we are going to be able to hopefully dominate the space arena. We have a couple of value plays in the deck outside of like our core ECL targets like Poe, Wrecker, and of course our space units and early game units that we really want to play. For Luke, we've got Sabine, who absolutely annihilates things like Krennic and Crafty Smuggler. Just a really nice ability to pair with a stat line to deal with those. We've got Fleet Lieutenant, as I said earlier, really nice pairing with Rebel units. Cassian, nice little smuggle payoff later. And our 4 drops, K2, nice value piece, a little bit more aggressive. Bright Hope, a little bit more defensive. And then Chewbacca's, especially for those more controlling matchups that can just absolutely throw a wrench in their plans. And we're going to hope that we can win some games here. Let's see what we can do with some Luke Green. All right, everyone. On to match number 2 here, up against Anakin Blue. Do I want to keep this hand? I think I do. We've got the initiative. I like the Y-Wing attack. I could potentially ECL out the Sabine's Masterpiece. I think I'm going to resource the Sabine Wren and the A-Wing. And then I'll have multiple 3-drops alongside Trench Run with a bunch of my fighters, which are going to just work very nicely. But as I said, I could ECL out the Sabine's Masterpiece or potentially just Blue Leader there. Like, let's say they have an Arc 170, right? Which is something that commonly Anakin plays. Pretty standard stuff. If not, we could just keep that Y-Wing alive. And Y-Wing is one of the... this is one of the decks where I really do like Y-Wing in, simply because we've got the ability to go ahead and drop in that Luke Skywalker ping to make indirect damage really inconvenient for them. This makes the Luke Skywalker ping a lot more valuable. So let's just go ahead and get an attack here, see how they allocate their damage. If they take 4 to the base, this thing is a 4-powered attacker turn 1 in the space arena. Insane. If they take one of their clone trooper, we can use the Luke Skywalker ping to finish off the clone trooper, which is really nice. Now, normally I'm not seeing a ton of clone troopers, and there's no... Ooh, they're just going to Okay, we'll just finish off the clone trooper then. I was gonna say I'm not usually used to seeing the clone troopers, but yeah, as you all saw from earlier. Oh my gosh, we're gonna drop a Sabine's masterpiece, which is gonna be amazing in this game. Sabine Wren, another blue leader. I think I can resource one of these blue leaders actually, and I may actually ECL out this Sabine, kill a clone trooper, kill a Batch Brothers, or one or the other. I could do so many different things, honestly. Just like a ridiculous amount of different things. I could even drop a blue leader plus Daring Ray, just drop a blue leader for the experience token. I think I will drop a blue leader in for the experience token on the Sabine's masterpiece. So let's go ahead and get an attack. I will give an experience token over to the Y-Wing, deal 1 damage to the Batch Brothers, and then we will see what they decide to do over there. We have the Daring Ray to finish off the Clone Trooper, which is going to be pretty nice. But anyways, obviously I don't know what my opponent's playing because we are now matched up in the matchmaking system, which is kind of cool. Okay, let's go ahead and just get an attack in with this Y-Wing just to see how they're going to divvy up their damage. Depending on how they do it, this can work really well for us. Yeah, this works exceptionally well. We'll kill off a Clone Trooper. We'll Daring Raid their 401st Elite Corps, and now we'll pass. Let's resource that Cassian, be able to pull him out of the smuggle pile this turn if we want. We do have multiple plays to make. We can make all 3 of these plays this turn, or just drop in the Cassian. I think the Cassian does look pretty appealing. We got options. We still have ECL, so if we drew Poe Dameron or Wrecker next turn, it's going to be looking pretty nice for us. Looks like they got a Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Seems fine. Let's go ahead and get an attack, give an experience to the blue leader, deal a damage to the Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Astromech Pilot will finish off that Phase 2 Clone Trooper, I suppose. Do I just want to get in a bunch of damage, or just want to play all my units here? I suppose I'll just attack in and see what my opponent does with the indirect damage here. Deal 2 over their Astromech Pilot, sure. Sure, let's go ahead and attack. Let's trench run. Discarded 2 cards. Okay, our opponent's just playing an absolute meme deck over there. They're just playing whatever came out of their draft packs, I think. Yeah. Normally when you see Anakin Blue with Colossus, you're expecting a little bit more, but you can't do ranked lobbies, I suppose, over here quite yet. Didn't even use the ECL. This is pretty easy going here. Let's get an attack here. I'll give an experience to this. I'll deal 1 damage to the base. It doesn't really matter at this point. I'm just gonna end it, you know, or just gonna end it for our opponent here. Get in some damage. They're gonna deploy. We're gonna hit it for 3. GG. Let's move on to the next one. All right, everyone, on to match number 1. I just wanted to show you all this because Karabast, new feature, the matchmaking queue. So this is how it goes, guys. I press join queue. We're gonna play some best of ones, and we're gonna have some fun. But there's no choosing the matchups. I know a lot of people like to say, "Oh my gosh, you can just choose whatever matchup you want." I mean, I could still, you know, you have no idea what I do in the editing process, and let me just give a bunch of validity to all the people who love to critique. You know, who knows what I do behind the scenes? But I just press the join queue button, take like the first 7 matches as soon as I start recording for the most part, unless someone just leaves prematurely and I find it to be a kind of an awkward one, you know. Then there's no point even showing you all that one. Let's go ahead and drop the Y-Wing. They got Maul. They got a Follower of the Way. Follower of the Way is pretty good. I think I could resource this Y-Wing if you're on the initiative and you're able to drop an upgrade on it. Obviously, those 2 things do have to happen. Fleet Lieutenant could be pretty good here. I also just kind of want to get the Sabine's masterpiece down, especially if I could follow it up with a Bright Hope. It's going to give me the experience token and ping every single turn, which is going to be pretty nice. They're just going to get an attack here. I will also just get an attack here. We'll see how they allocate their damage with the Y-Wing here. Okay. 3 damage total to the base, 1 to the follower of the way. Probably because they're trying to preserve their follower of the way. But that's a 3-powered attacker. You know, like that's pretty good. Pretty good. I think here, do I want to actually hit the follower of the way? Or do I want to hit the Outer Rim Outlaws? I think I'll just hit the follower of the way and then pass. Got a second Bright Hope. Probably don't care about the second Bright Hope. I think I'd rather have the Trench Run over the Bright Hope number 2. Because I can also go Fleet Lieutenant plus Trench Run, Fleet Lieutenant plus Daring Raid, all of which looks pretty good here. I think I just want to get down this Bright Hope, but it really depends on kind of what they do. If they have a way to upgrade this follower of the way, it's going to get a little bit complicated for sure. Playing the Fleet Lieutenant, attacking with the Sabine's Masterpiece. Guys, what am I fighting against? Usually, this just goes to show you, when you jump in a queue, when you just jump in the queue, you fight against random decks, okay? And I wouldn't doubt for a good while here, we're going to see some random stuff, okay? Like, absolutely random stuff. Because you can't pick, like, more solid matchups. That's just what happens. And if we have a bunch of them that are, like, a little bit weird, maybe I'll have to go into Petronaki to try and, get a little bit more solid matchups, because they're playing Evasive Maneuver in their deck, and they got a Ruthless Assassin coming down. I mean, none of these are like horrible. I mean, okay, Evasive Maneuver is pretty horrible, but like, wow. I just didn't expect what was about to happen. Another Sabine's Masterpiece, easy resource there. We got the Chewbacca, which I could ECL out. Don't really need to. I mean, the game is pretty much a wrap here. They've played a bunch of units. We've gotten free value across the board. I mean, there's just not much that they can really do here. Let's go Fleet Lieutenant here, and let's attack it with Sabine's Masterpiece. We'll give an experience token over to the Bright Hope. We'll deal 1 damage to the Outer Rim Outlaws. Just finish it off. They're going to attack in. We're going to attack in with a Y-Wing. We have a Daring Raid, remember, so we can finish off the Ruthless Assassin. Oh, they're just going to let us kill it like that. Sure. Luke Ping also works. Can't Trench Run the Bright Hope. It is not a fighter. So, just a little note there. Another Outer Rim Outlaws, huh? Okay, let's get it in for 3. I mean, my opponent is getting there somehow, some way. Let's go ahead and hit that for 1. I suppose we'll hold on to this. I mean, I could deal 2 to their base, but I don't even, like, I don't even know. I don't even know. You know, I don't even know. I think we can win this turn. I think we can win this turn. Let's see what we've got. They're going to attack for 3. They did attack for 3. Attack with Sabine's Masterpiece. I'll give it experience over the Y-Wing. Deal a damage to... I guess we can deal a damage to their base, since we're just racing at this point. Like, I don't even know if any part of this game matters, really. Let's just get down this Fleet Lieutenant, get in for 5, and then Trench Run to deal 6 to our opponent. Trench Run. We'll see. What do we hit? Okay, they deal no damage to our Red Squadron Y-Wing. Doesn't matter how they divvy up their indirect damage. Game's over. GG. All right, on to the next. All right, we're gonna jump into match 3 here. I'm gonna still use this matchmaking queue just because we're testing it out. You know, we're just playing around with it. But you know, this is another one where I think we're gonna be kind of crushing it. Now, this does depend on initiative, and it looks like our opponent has initiative. We have a 2 resource space unit, but I don't have like a Sabine's Masterpiece or anything like that. I think I can mulligan this for a potential better hand. You know, it's okay. I think I'll resource the Trench Run though, and one of the Chewbaccas, and then keep both my space units. We'll see what my opponent has here on turn 1. The Y-Wing is going to be pretty nice. I could just ECL out the Y-Wing. We haven't even used ECL just at all yet. Incinerator Trooper, huh? Okay, never mind. Incinerator Trooper is something I'm very not scared about because I probably won't even have a space unit to drop over there. So we have a nice curve here. I think I'm going to resource the Chewbacca because we have a nice, like, turn to blue leader into whatever space unit they play, which I presume they will because, yes, there's some vehicles you could play on the ground, but they're not that great. Into K2, into hopefully a double play into Wrecker. At the current moment, that's going to be our current plan. Let's just get an attack in with the Y-Wing, make sure we can trigger the Luke ability. We'll see what my opponent decides to do. Again, this is a 4-powered attacker on turn 1 or a 3-powered attacker plus the ability to finish off their unit. And look at that. That's what we're going to do, right? Crazy, crazy good stuff. Blue leader down, pass. We've got the K2SO. We've got another blue leader. Great. I'll resource this A-Wing at this point. I may just ECL out this K2 to kill off the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. That seems like a pretty solid play to me. Really depends. My opponent's not using the Darth Vader action at all. So it kind of mitigates a lot of the strength of Vader right now with Incinerator Trooper, Dark Trooper, but I mentioned this before, like game 1, and then we saw game 2, which was also like a draft deck, and then into game 3, I mean, not that my opponent's playing a draft deck, because like Incinerator Trooper plus, you know, Dark Trooper, that was something that people were playing in like Tarkin, right? But like, not in Vader. I don't know, guys. We might have to drop into some public games to try to get some Jangos or whatnot as a few of our matches, because this has been, well, not exactly all that strong from our opponents. Let's go ahead and just get in an attack with this Y-Wing here. And I think what I'll do is just attack their base. Because I don't care about their Vanguard. I can finish off the Luke trigger. I may just ECL out this K2, but I think I'd rather deal some damage to them and have my K2SO die off just to immediately get that value. What did they just do? They daring raided my base? Oh, well, this makes my decision even easier. We're just going to kill off both their units. Yeah, we're just going to K2SO, trigger ambush, kill the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Let's do us first. Deal 3 damage to an opponent's base. We'll pass. Got ourselves the blue leader. A-Wing can go to the resource pile. A blue leader is now an ambusher on both sides of the arena. We have another K2SO plus daring raid. We can do a blue leader 5-drop. We just have a million different things that is going to be amazing here. Million different things that we can do here. Come on, opponent. Let's see what you got. It's not, they can't have anything too crazy, right? They can't have anything too crazy. Occupier Siege Tank. I take it back. That is insane. All right, let's attack with a Y-Wing. They may associate 2 damage onto the Occupier Siege Tank, and we just finished off with Daring Raid. That seems like, yep, that's exactly what they're gonna do. So let's just go Daring Raid, K2SO, and I guess we'll pass. I mean, I don't even know if this game could get any more brutal for my opponent, really. Like, just, it's one-sided, guys. So we're going to have to pull in some actual matchups here. I'm all for the queuing system. I'm all for it. There's no downside, right? No downside. No downside. I said Petronaki earlier, but yes, you can make public games on Carabest. I would just, that's what I was used to using Petronaki for a while there. It's just an extra feature. It's cool, but I imagine when people are sitting down trying to play their little casual decks, this is what we're gonna get. So yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and we'll try to play some real matches here in a moment. Let's get in for 3. We have Luke to deploy. He's gonna be a 5/6. It's gonna end the game. And we'll just attack with Luke. Boom. GG. All right, let's get in some real matches now. Huh? Now we're talking. We got a Django Red in here. All right. We just crushed the first 3 matches, and now we get to see. Now we get to see what we're truly capable of. Got an awkward hand here, actually, really awkward hand. I'm gonna resource the Chewbacca. Chewbacca's not really something you want to be doing up against Django. Has a lot of direct damage, can go ahead and just keep exhausting if you piloted him on. Sabine Wren's not too bad, especially if they go Crafty Smuggler on turn 1, or even ISB Agent. That could be something that can really mess you up. Let's go Sabine. They could have something. Looks like they're just going to claim initiative and pass. We draw a very awkward hand. Very, very awkward. To be honest, that is... let's resource this Bright Hope. No fighter on turn 1. They got a P-38. Sure. Let's go with a shoot down here on the P-38. Deal 2 damage to the Tarkin town. Oh, they're going to deal 1 to their own ISB agent. That was clearly a mistake. I mean... I'm going to claim initiative and pretend like that has 0 damage on it. Okay? That's what we're going to do right now. Okay, let's resource a K2SO here. Let's just drop in the K2SO. Let's just drop the K2SO in so that we can take initiative and then maybe deal with the ISB agent afterwards. Guerrilla Soldier, huh? I think we'll just... Oh, man. This one's definitely a very different version of Django than you normally would be expecting. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. They can finish off the K2 with their ISB agent. That's totally fine. And I think here I will make them discard a card. I think that might be more impactful. Ruthless Raider into the resource pile. First Order Stormtrooper as the card here. Ooh, Poe Dameron was a really nice draw, to be honest. I think here, I'm just going to Poe Dameron, trigger. I will target the Guerrilla Soldier. I'll discard a Daring Raid and a Y-Wing here. And I will deal to make them discard. Really nice one. No space units really in this game at all. So very different. Yeah, very, very different from what we normally would be expecting. I guess they have the P-38. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. They have Django. But I mean, we can kill Django next turn. Wow, they're going to ignore... That seems really risky, huh? I'm just going to attack Django, discard a card, deal 2 to their Django, so I can finish off Django. And I know they can P-38 here, but that just seems like way too much value. Ruthless Raider, sure. Let's go ahead and deploy Luke and get in for 5. Get in for 5, play Wrecker. No defeating of resource, pass. Fleet Lieutenant is pretty nice. Open Fire is pretty nice as well. Can deal with something else. They'll have to have something to exhaust my Wrecker. They've got a Sneak Attack War Juggernaut. Okay. Sneak Attack War Juggernaut's pretty good. They're going to have to exhaust Wrecker. Yep, exhaust Wrecker. We're going to go Fleet Lieutenant attack in for 7. They can get an attack in for 11, which is really close. Really close. Oh. They're trading? Oh, I think they attack base like 100% there. Like, no questions asked. But I'll take it. I mean, yeah, I'll take it. Whew. I am very surprised as to what just transpired there. Because they attack in for 7. Triple Dark Raid as a draw is insane. What an insane draw. In a Devastator? Yeah, okay. Well, this is the problem with Django, guys. I mean, what a top deck, right? They had the Sneak Attack plus War Juggernaut, which they drew into. And then they had the Triple Dark Raid into the card that can go ahead and win them the game here. Excellent, excellent draw. And that's GG. That is Triple Dark Raid's power, right? That is the difference between like winning and losing you the game. Devastator off the top with a Triple Dark Raid. And it had to be that. Really, really excellent. That's some of the problem, right? That's some of the problem with with Django Red right now. Awesome. All right, we're moving on to the next deck, and we've got Anakin Blue, but maybe a more traditional Anakin Blue. What is this hand? We got the Poe Dameron Tron hand. We're going to resource that Cassian. We're going to hope to draw an early game play because I don't really want to be playing Cassian on turn 2 here as like our only play. But we have so many cards we can draw that we play on turn 2. I think this is okay. The chances that we miss is just ridiculously low. Because even like Chewbacca works. It would have to be like Wrecker, the 3 copies of Wrecker, or the 2 copies of K2SO. So 5 cards in our deck are unplayable. Play out the Y-Wing. Love Y-Wing, by the way. Regional Governor. Okay. What are you going to name? I think Regional Governor makes a good amount of sense. You name a red 5. And that's a good name, I think. I think that's a good name. End up drawing... Guys, I mean, you just can't lie about this. Some of this stuff sometimes. Like, I drew Wrecker Daring Raid. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sure. Let's go ahead and have they're just gonna take it all, huh? Let's deal 1 to the Concord Dawn Interceptors. I mean, jeez. We're gonna claim initiative. What a bad hand. Okay. Let's see. We've got Y-Wing, A-Wing. We got a K2SO. We'll resource the A-Wing. We'll get an attack in here. I'm going to attack the Concord Dawn Interceptors because they can attack my my Y-Wing regardless. So it doesn't really make sense to not do that. They're going to split up the damage as that. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and deal another one to the Concord Dawn Interceptors, I suppose. We'll play out... Oh my gosh, what a horrible situation for us. This is going horribly, I will admit. We've got Trench Run here that we'll just resource. They're going to attack, sure. We'll make them discard a card. I think here, I'm just going to play out the Poe Dameron and hope they don't have like a Fel the Dragon. Okay, they're going to play Yoda. We're going to claim initiative. And a C-3PO. Interesting. Wow, they've got a lot of stuffs going on. Let's go and attack C-3PO. We'll discard 2 cards here. And we will deal 2. And then make them discard. What did we take out? We took out a Queel from their hand. Sure. We've got the ECL Wrecker, which is going to be awesome. ECL Wrecker will take care of Anakin very smoothly. Okay, they're going to attack into that. Sure. Let's go ahead and deploy Luke. So here, they'll use the Anakin ability... attack into our Poe Dameron. So now they've lost their entire board. But they'll get a card. So that's not too bad. So hopefully they didn't draw something too crazy here. Okay, we're going to go ECL Wrecker. Deal 5. We'll defeat the Trench Run. Trigger. Hit them for a nice chunk of 5 as well. They drew a or they had a tech to smuggle out. Sure. We've got a Fleet Lieutenant. Not too bad. I do like a Fleet Lieutenant. Let's resource this Sabine here. I think I will take care of this tech just because that gives them so many more options. So many more options. Let's get in 7 to the base. They've got a Cassian. Sure. Let's go Sabine's Masterpiece plus 8-Wing. So we'll be able to kill off my Wrecker most likely here. I suppose they could go for my Luke, but I feel like that's probably just not the right play. Force throw, huh? Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't really do anything. I think you'd rather just take initiative here. Let's resource the Cassian, I suppose. Let's go ahead and get in an attack. But here I can give an experience to Luke and just deal 1 damage to the Concord Dawn, so I don't lose the Sabine's Masterpiece. Redemption, huh? Redemption's pretty good. I mean, we get a Cassian plus a Y-Wing here, so that's going to be pretty nasty too. I mean, we'll just trade off, I suppose. They're going to heal for that amount. I mean, we're still sitting absolutely amazingly. And even like a Nebula Ignition, if they happen to play one in their deck, it doesn't quite do it necessarily, because we have another Cassian and we have Luke that's upgraded. I mean, Perilous Position, sure. Doesn't really do a whole lot. Let's get in for the Cassian. They've got a tech. We will play Blue Leader. We will pay 2 resources. And then we will trigger the ambush to kill the tech, which now the Sabine's Masterpiece can attack. We can give an experience token to itself, deal 1, a Y-Wing attack for 4, pass, keep everything. And despite our kind of awful start, like horrible start, I mean, I managed to bring it back with Podamerons and Wreckers, which is part of the reason why they're in their deck, just because playing this like early game focused fighter style with Luke is great to start getting some momentum, and then transitioning into a great mid game with ECL Pose and Wreckers for those matchups is really nice. But you can also just do early game ECLs with the Sabine's Masterpiece, is one of my favorites, with like an early A-Wing. That is amazing to get an experience token on the Sabine's Masterpiece, hit it for 4, or just like an ECL Red 5, whatever. There's just so many different options. Really solid so far. All right, into our next matchup, we've got Quinlan Voss. I don't mind this hand. I don't love it, though. I think I'm going to mulligan. I'm hoping for a little bit of a more versatile hand, and this is kind of what I was looking for. Do I want to keep a Wrecker? Do I want to get rid of Shoot Down? I think Shoot Down is going to be less useful in this matchup, and I think I will resource the Wrecker. And I will pass here, so I think it advantages me to get to my Luke deploy significantly earlier than them. They've got Republic Y-Wing. Okay, we're going to go with a Y-Wing then of our own. And they're going to take initiative. We'll pass. We've got a Blue Leader. That's a good draw. I think I'll resource the Sabine, because we have a lot of 3-drops here, all of which that have different potentials depending on what we want to do here. Attack the base. And we'll attack the base back. Let's see what my opponent's got. Let's see how they're going to divvy up that indirect damage. 2 to the Y-Wing, huh? A little bit surprised on that one. That's kind of like a free kill there. So we dealt 2 to the base, and with the Luke action, we got to get rid of their 1-drop, I suppose. Not sure if people are playing Y-Wing all that much, to be honest. I think I will just finish off the Y-Wing here. And the question is, do I want to play Red 5, or do I want to play Sabine's Masterpiece here? Both of which have really solid options. I think I'd rather play the Red 5 just to get that down. Ooh, K2 is a great draw as well. And that's going to allow us to curve out into a Cassian, no less, if we want to. So Sabine's Masterpiece, the advantage for this is that we get to just deal 1 to whatever, but Red 5 ends up doing more damage if we're able to get an attack in with the Y-Wing first, which is really nice. Get an attack in with Ezra. We'll see if they have a play here. Now, Ezra is a little bit scary because of Force Throw. That was the other consideration, is if I played the Sabine's Masterpiece and they just go Force Throw. Oh, they have a Waylay. Okay, I mean, Waylay is fine. It's not really that big of a deal, because we're going to be ahead on board. We're going to deal a bunch of damage to their base. They're going to take a bunch of damage here. We're going to be able to deploy K2SO. We're going to deal 1 to their Ezra. And I think I will just deploy out K2SO. But what I was going to say is, I think I'll resource the Sabine's Masterpiece at this point. If they had a force throw, then if we played the Sabine's Masterpiece, it would have just died. Whereas the red 3 at least lives through it, so we can get an attack in. Let's see what they decide to do. They're going to attack the base. Okay. They've got an R2D2, which they decided to discard. Okay. Makes sense. Let's attack it with the Y-Wing. Make sure we get that Luke Skywalker trigger should we wish to do so. No Podamerons, no Wreckers that we drew, which is okay. Still in a good spot. Okay, they're gonna... Okay. A little bit strange in terms of what I was expecting, I suppose. They could have a Plo Koon. So I'm going to finish off the Ezra. I mean, Plo Koon still kills off K2SO with the Quinlan Voss trigger. I think I'll hit Quinlan here and see what ends up happening. Remember, a Podameron or Wrecker draw is going to be insane. Y-Wing coming in, huh? They dealt 1 damage to the Y-Wing. I think I will get down a Cassian and finish off the Quinlan here. Now they have options. They can Tarkin Town whatever unit they want. They don't have a Plo Koon. They got a Waylay. All right, we're going to claim initiative. They still haven't used their Tarkin Town. Well, little odd there. Extremely odd, to be honest. We're going to kill off Quinlan Voss. What if my opponent forgot about Tarkin Town? So they had double Waylay here. They've got Surprise Strike. And we will take a little bit of damage into our base. Oh, wait. Oh, they were attacking my... Oh, well. I should have just... What? Surprise Strike into that? I don't get it. I'm so confused right now. Okay, we'll just blue leader and we'll kill off the Y-Wing. They can Tarkin Town that away if they want. And then we will red 5. And then we will deal 1. We're then going to deploy him as a pilot onto red 5 and then pass. Cassia goes into the resource pile. Still no Wreckers or Poes, with the exception of the first one that we drew. So they can finish off blue leader here. I'm just confused about what my opponents really do. The plays that they're making are so different from what I'm trying to expect that I don't know what to expect. You know, there's only so much that you can really play around. Okay, they're gonna exhaust. Sure. We will trade off with the red 5. We still got ECL, so lots of options available. They got a Plo Koon. Sure. I think what we'll do here is play out blue leader. Hit the Leia. And then we'll play out an A-Wing. I think we'll put the green one down and they'll claim initiative. We'll pass, open fire, another A-Wing. Very odd game we found ourselves upon. I don't even know. I think my opponent just forgot about Tarkin Town, so I have like just... I mean, they could have used Tarkin Town here, and yes, they get to kill blue leader here, but like... It doesn't matter, because we get in for so much damage here. So much damage. Like... We have enough to finish out the game, right? Because we have the A-Wing. I mean, I could have just attacked with the red 5 here first, but it doesn't matter. We have the attack in. We can deal 3 damage to a unit. We can deal 2 damage to a damaged unit. We've got the Cassian plus the Fleet Lieutenant to finish out the game. And that's going to be GG. Very odd game, to be honest. Yeah, just some of the, they didn't use Tarkin Town. They probably forgot about Tarkin Town. Otherwise, you would have used Tarkin Town many spots. I was holding on to ECL. And so in terms of like planning for like a Podameron or a Wrecker, we just never ended up drawing one. I was thinking about ECLing out K2SO a lot of times, which I guess would have just been better because we didn't end up using it, but I don't know. Very, very odd. All right. Next one and final one. We've got Piet Double Green. This one's going to be a fun one. I think that we're going to struggle. I think this is a bad matchup for us. But also just a bad hand that we ended up starting out with. I think Sabine is actually better than some of our space units here. But I'm going to resource, obviously, 2 of our 2 resource space units because we have 2 more 2 resource units, 1 space, 1 ground, and we have a 3-drop, so it's pretty easy resource here. We'll see what they do. I wouldn't mind going A-Wing into Sabine's Masterpiece. I think that's not a bad situation to be in at all. Okay, I will do that. We've got a Sabine Wren that I'll resource now. No 2 resource play, which is nice. Depends on the deck that they're playing, but we're going to have a Super Laser Tech or a resupply right here. I decided to go with the A-Wing because of the Super Laser Technician at the end of the day. Outlaw Corona, huh? This is a very easy situation for us. They conceded. Okay. See, like, this is one of those games where, like, normally I would have just removed it from like the pool of like games that I play because like this is a non-game. But what would have happened here is I would have attacked the base, dealt one to the Outlaw Corona, ECL'd out Sabine's Masterpiece. It would have lived. We would have then got an additional resource, and we would have been on 5 resources next turn. And I mean, who knows what we could have done with that, right? We had a lot of options there. But my goodness, that was like absolutely atrocious in terms of what could have happened. Maybe they were like, oh, I could have gone like turn 1, played the Outlaw Corona because like that's the strength of it. And if that was the case, I mean, turn 2, we would have just shoot down, right? And like that would have been too bad for our opponent because we wouldn't have had that aggressive of a start, but we would have had the ramp and they wouldn't have had any ramp unless they had another 3-drop. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they just forgot they were playing Piet, but like, yeah, that was a non-game right there, guys. Let's talk about Luke Green. All right, so what did we learn with Luke Green today? Guys, it was a ton of fun and pretty strong. Like, we were really doing well against Django Red there, even. Pretty solid game against Django Red, but they just happen to have, like, the best top deck of their entire deck to close it out. Now, of course, that could absolutely happen, and Django could have had a stronger hand to begin with. Like, there are just so many different things that Django Red can do. If it can't beat Django Red, it's not like it's a bad deck or anything like that, so that wasn't really my metric at all. But overall, I mean, we did pretty well, right? The early aggressive space units is exactly how I like Luke. Is have a few space units in the early game, be able to leverage that ability, and then, of course, you have that amazing late game potential with Luke by putting him on a space unit and kind of like just doing massive work, especially on a red 5 where you get that 5 damage to a unit every single attack. That's really nice as well. But the ECL portion, space units being ECL'd out, really the only ones I like are red 5 and Sabine's Masterpiece for the most part. And so if it was just a pure space deck, ECL is usually not that strong. But with the Podamerons and Wreckers, that's where you get a lot of game against some other matchups. As you saw, like against that Anakin blue deck, if we didn't have Poes or Wreckers, that game would have been over, like utterly over. With the Podamerons and Wreckers, we actually had a chance. And that is what really shifts the game into a really strong mid-range style deck. And that's what Luke is trying to do. Luke Blue is another option. I played a lot with Luke Blue. I like Luke Blue just a little bit more, especially with Colossus. You're able to grind out that mid game a lot more. But with Luke Blue and Colossus, if you're playing Podameron, similar to like an Anakin Blue or like a Ray Red type of deck, you just don't do as well when you're trying to rely on a unit to attack. And Luke in general just relies on units to attack to get his action going. Django, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough, okay? I know I haven't talked a lot about Django. I'm hoping that, like, if I post this video, he'll be banned or something. That would be awkward if I was just talking a lot about Django or whatever, and then he ends up being banned or whatnot. But if you want to play Luke, yeah, just, maybe hope for a Django ban or something. I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all for the next one.